I see the born of no return. Sister, hey now, can't you see we're rushing for the end? I see the point of no return. Now I see the point of no return. It's just ahead.
Well, good evening. It's Monday, March 24th. Boy, March is almost gone already. 2014. You're listening to Wide Awake News on the Rents Radio Network, and I am Gary Hendershot. And for the next hour or so, you guessed it, I'm going to be barking at the moon, as if anybody out there was really listening. Well, I tell you, I've got quite a pile of paper here I'm going to try to get through tonight. I suspect I might have been a bit optimistic about my ability to wade through this pile in the limited amount of time available, but we're going to do the best we can. First off, those of you on the East Coast who have been suffering from winter weather blues had best batten down the hatches, because it looks like there's a real strong possibility you're going to get smacked again. Let's see here. This from wonderground.com. Powerful storm will develop off the East Coast Tuesday and Wednesday. Critical questions remain on the exact track of the storm. Heavy snow possible in parts of eastern New England and likely Atlantic Canada. Light accumulating snow probably elsewhere in the Northeast. Coastal floods, high winds. Yeah, sounds like winter. Only problem is it's spring, damn it. They go on and on and on. You know, the I-95 corridor, the snow may mix with rain at times. They're hedging their bets in this article. Apparently there's not 100% certainty on this one. It seemed like the last clobber we got, they were crazy accurate about it. Man, they called that one right on the dot. You know, it was almost like it was planned. I don't know, maybe those chemtrail folks who swear it was all done by design have an argument, not sure. This time they're kind of hedging their bets. They're not really sure how the storm is going to track, but it's looking like, you know, in my area, right around the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, we may get a mix of rain and snow. It might go out west as far as Ohio, up into the north, some areas of the Northeast, particularly upstate New York and Maine, may actually get serious accumulations. Really hard to say. Bottom line is, get used to it. Make sure that snow shovel's where you can get at it, because there's a very good chance you're going to need it. This one's going to run starting sometime late on Tuesday, and probably won't finish up for some folks in the upper northeast section of the United States until sometime along about Wednesday. So it looks like even though it's spring, we're still going to get us a little bit of wintry weather. Well, after couple, 2 or 3 weeks, I guess it's been 17, 18 days now, the government of Malaysia, specifically Malaysia's Prime Minister, announced today in Malaysia, probably, you know, last night for most of you out there, that further analysis of satellite data has confirmed that the missing Malaysian airliner went down in the southern Indian Ocean with its passengers and crew. No explanation's been given why this airplane was flying south instead of north. It was supposed to be flying from Malaysia to China, and they're speculating now that it's crashed into the Indian Ocean somewhere about 1,200 miles west of Perth, Australia. Obviously, almost 180 degrees off track. Speculation is that this was some sort of suicide mission by the pilot and co-pilot. No definitive evidence of the airplane's crash has been found. Okay, that should be clearly noted. Some speculation that this thing's just been dragging on, and they needed to find closure for the families who have been left up in the air. What's happened to my loved ones? 239 people, just vanish off the face of the earth. They were entitled to some sort of an official pronouncement. Yeah, they're dead. You can mourn your dead now, and it's over with. But there's still a lot of speculation about what might have gone on with this airplane. A fellow that I listen to often on the internet, Mike Rivero, still seems to think that airplane's in a chop shop somewhere being chopped up for its valuable spare parts. I don't know. And frankly, I'm not sure the Prime Minister of Malaysia really knows. I think he was just trying to close the issue for all the people who have been directly impacted by this. You've got to understand that a few thousand people had relatives, friends, business associates on that airplane. This has got to be a gut-wrenching experience for them. How do you call it? You want to wrap it all up in a ball of conspiracy. We're so damned suspicious of anything that comes out of the mouth of any government official that we immediately see, jumbo jets flying into towers and Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Boogeyman. It may just be that this government official was trying to be kind to an awful lot of people who have no idea what happened to all their loved ones. I don't know. On this one, you're just going to have to make up your own damn mind. I can tell you that there's a lot of speculation about what the heck CNN is going to have to talk about now, because they've been running non-stop air disaster coverage for longer than a lot of people can remember. I guess, they're going to have to get Greta Van Susteren back in there to go, every other word is rape, whatever. Yes, the big news. A little closer to home. In Arlington, Washington State, the search for survivors of a deadly Washington State mudslide. A mudslide. Every day I wake up in the morning and I think, shrug my shoulders, trundle off to get my job done because, got to pay the mortgage. And I always figure, hey, it could happen any day. I could walk out the front door and get hit by a metro bus. But to get slammed in a mudslide, there's 108 people from the small community of Arlington, Washington, who are unaccounted for. There's 8 people who have been confirmed dead after a 1 square mile mudslide Saturday swept through part of a former fishing village about 55 miles northeast of Seattle. Several people were also critically injured. About 30 homes were destroyed. The situation is very grim, says a county fire chief, stressing that authorities are still in rescue mode and are holding out hope. But he noted, we have not found anyone alive on this pile since Saturday. So 8 confirmed dead, 108 missing, and of all things, a mudslide in the small community of Arlington, Washington. Let's see here. Overnight search, dangerous conditions. Basically, crews were able to get to the super. Frequent heavy rainfall and geography made the area prone to landslides. Heavy rainfall. That's a sad one. But, you know, what are you going to do, you know? Seems a shame. 108 people. Let's see now. This one, got to get through this one here. You know, we've talked quite a bit about bankers meeting with unfortunate demise. You know, we had that guy who was shot in the back of the head a couple times with a nail gun, obviously committed suicide by nail gun, right? And, you know, it just seems that, you know, there's been a suspicious rash of deaths among mid-level banking executives. You know, you'd almost stop and think, you know, if you had a conspiratorial bend and you saw conspiracies under every rock, you know, you might be thinking to yourself, gee, you know, all these mid-level executives getting knocked off like that, you know, or killing themselves jumping out of buildings or whatever. You know, you stop and think, my gosh, all these mid-level guys, you think maybe they're trying to cut off the path of evidence to the upper guys? Nah, it couldn't be something so silly. But, you know, an interesting article comes out of an outfit called WallStreetOnParade.com. That's WallStreetOnParade.com. That puts another interesting twist on the story that perhaps you should consider. Families of young JPMorgan Chase workers who have experienced tragic deaths over the past 4 months have been kept in the dark on many details. Wait for it, here comes the punchline, including the fact that the bank most likely held a life insurance policy on their loved one. No, come on. You know, the banks are getting so desperate that they're bumping off their employees to collect on the life insurance. No, come on. But according to the December 31st, 2013 financial filing known as the Call Report, JPMorgan made it has tied up $10.4 billion in illiquid long-term bets on the deaths of large segments of its employees. Isn't that fascinating? Never would have thought, right? Actually, you know, having been an executive with a large corporation, I was very much aware that corporation had a life insurance policy on me. The argument was they stood to be injured upon my untimely demise. So they wanted to hold an insurance policy on me just in case I did get hit by that metro bus on the way into work in the morning, that they would not suffer a significant economic hit due to my demise. So in reality, this is probably not as suspicious as it might appear to a lot of folks out there. This is not an uncommon practice. Most big corporations have a life insurance policy to indemnify themselves for the loss of key players within the organization. The interesting thing about the insurance policies held by many banks, including JPMorgan Chase, is that these insurance policies were carried on fairly low-level employees. So it's not uncommon for a big corporation to have a life insurance policy on their big shots. But yeah, when the bank starts carrying life insurance policies on the secretarial pool, that's a little unusual. That looks like maybe they're actually betting on the untimely demise of people who they really do not stand to suffer a significant business loss if they die. That's an interesting little sidebar. You consider, make up your own mind. Personally, yeah, I think it smells bad, but, you know, that's just my opinion. And who am I? I'm just an old guy with straw for brains, trying to make sense out of very complicated issues. So we'll just have to see. You know, I come from a period in time when there was a lot of turmoil in the United States. We had the Vietnam War going on. You know, we had black people marching in the streets for the right to ride anywhere on the bus that they felt like it. You know, issues that today probably seem difficult to understand because, you know, without historical perspective, seem like a bunch of long-haired, hippie, freaky people just running around yelling and screaming over nothing, right? Right? I mean, the problems we faced back in the late 60s and early 70s, nothing compared to what you young folks are facing today, right? Yeah. But, you know, one issue we kind of thought we'd put behind us was this issue of the polarization of racial identities within the United States. You know, I remember as a child going to restaurants and stores and places where, you know, black people would enter on one side, white people would enter on the other. You know, I mean, segregation at that time was considered normal, perfectly reasonable. Well, we thought we had done something about that back in the late 1960s. I mean, you know, we shrugged that off. Come on, it's just being silly, you know. And even though there were some people who objected, both black and white. I mean, there were people on both sides of the fence saying, "What do you mean? What do you mean I can't have my black neighborhood? I've always lived in a black neighborhood. That's where I want to live. What do you mean I can't have my white neighborhood? What do you mean I can't have my white school? What do you mean my black child can't go to a school where the kids there look like him? What's wrong with that?" Okay? But, you know, we thought better of it, and we thought that, you know, we were better for having bridged that divide. Party preferences. We're talking politics here, political parties. More polarized by race and ethnicity since the Obama administration took power. Interesting. Whites and non-whites have long showed differing political party preferences, with non-whites widely favoring the Democratic Party and whites typically favoring the Republican Party by at least a small margin. In recent years, however, the margins in favor of the Republican Party among whites have been some of the largest. These results, based on yearly aggregates of Gallup polls since 1995, the net Democratic advantage represents the percentage of each racial ethnic group identified. Okay. Bottom line is it appears that the Republican Party in the United States of America is very quickly becoming the preferred political vehicle for people of white racial character, and more, the Democratic Party in the United States is becoming the party of non-white racial characteristics. It's an interesting factoid. To be honest with you, I've known very conservative people of color who, put me to shame in their level of conservative thinking. And I keep thinking to myself, well, they would fit better in the Republican Party. But they seem to have an unusual loyalty to the Democratic political party for reasons that I don't pretend to understand. But that is a factoid of life in the United States of America in the 21st century, that there appears to now be a racial divide in our political partisanship. Perhaps we're getting back to the days of segregation again. Perhaps we need some marches in the street to force more black people. Maybe we need to bus some black people over to the Republican Party, and perhaps we need to bus some of those rich white Republicans over to the Democratic Party. Consider. And as always, make up your own damn mind. I hear the music in the background. I'm going to have to slide out of here for a moment while they sell some product to support the network. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Wide Awake news right after these commercial messages. And we're back from that first break of the evening. That bit about politics, was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it just kind of makes me wonder, what everybody out there is going to say is, the reason all the white people are abandoning the Democratic Party is because, they're racists, and this race card nonsense gets played so often that, at this point it's a little like, calling somebody an anti-Semite, It just don't have the same punch it had 20 years ago because, it seems like, that they leave these little landmines laying out there and, nobody can possibly walk through that field without stepping on one of them. And I look at the way the parties have sorted themselves out. Now, I see very little real difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party in terms of what it means to me. Okay? Neither one of those parties has ever done me any favors, regardless of whether I vote for a Democrat or vote for a Republican. Seems I'm going to have bigger federal government, more intrusion into my life, I'm going to pay more taxes, and chances are the tax money that I pay is going to be used to indiscriminately go around the world killing brown people and taking their stuff, whether I like it or not. I think a lot of times what happens with the political parties is that, we have a Republican in. A guy like, say, George Bush the Lesser, who, after a very short period of time, people just flat become sick of. And to punish the Republicans for having the nerve to put up such a jackass as president, they'll vote for anybody that the Democrats put up. Then the Democrats put up some, jerk like this guy, what's his face, Barry Soetoro, Obama, whatever he wants to call himself this week. And after a little while with him, everybody's so sick of it, they'll vote for anybody the Republicans put up to punish the Democrats for having the nerve to put up somebody like Obama. So politics in America, that seems to be how it goes. It doesn't matter whether you get a Democrat or a Republican. They're going to screw you over. They're going to make you angry. And probably the next time around, you're going to be so fed up with that party that you're going to vote for the other party regardless of who they put up. You know, if Bush had a lot of hard-nosed Republicans so pissed off, they probably would have voted for Hillary Clinton to vote him out. Well, maybe they wouldn't have gone that far. But my point is, that seems to be how it goes in the United States. We seem to flip-flop. You know, we get a Republican in there, we catch him lying to us, we catch him screwing us over, we catch him doing stuff we don't like. To punish that party, we throw that bum out and bring in the other bum. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Are you about pissed off yet? The Republicans only need 6 seats in the Senate to take it back from the Democrats. 36 seats are up for grabs. Very good chance we're going to have a Republican Senate because a lot of people are so pissed off between Obamacare and all the other nonsense, they're going to throw the bums out. I guarantee you, the Republicans will not do them any favors either. How many of you out there are familiar with a fellow, my picture's not playing for whatever reason. How many of you out there are familiar with a fellow named Mark Dice? I mean, frankly, you know, I follow this guy on YouTube. I get kind of a giggle out of some of his stuff. This is the guy who went out on the street with a 1 ounce gold coin, and he made a video he posted on YouTube, you know, telling people how he's down and out, and he wants to sell his 1 ounce gold coin for $50 to pay a cell phone bill or whatever. You know, it's a cute bit. You know, and I keep thinking to myself, man, I tell you what, if he'd offered that thing to me, I'd have gotten a couple of fingers along with that 1 ouncer. You know, $50 for yeah. But you know, the reactions of the people to this offer of a 1 ounce gold coin, I think it was a maple leaf or whatever, but you know, the 1 ounce gold coin, you know, being offered to them for $50 when at the time gold was selling for, I don't know, you know, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 an ounce, whatever it was at that time. It was just a really cute bit, and frankly, it reminded me of the old Art Linkletter show. Kids say the funniest things or whatever. You know, I used to, you know, Art Linkletter would, you know, propose something to a child, and the child would come up with the most off-the-wall, craziest answer, and it would just give you a belly laugh every time you watch it. Of course, I'm dating myself talking about Art Linkletter. That's an old black and white television show for you young'uns out there that don't remember it. But, you know, I look at Mark Dice and I say, this guy is a modern-day Art Linkletter. He's going out making these perfectly reasonable propositions to these people, and they come up with the craziest answers. Well, for those of you who don't know, Mark Dice had his YouTube channel closed down. Now, for a guy like me, now, you know, I record these broadcasts along with a video feed, and I post them up to my YouTube channel at Smart Scarecrow. You know, that's my YouTube channel. And before I go to bed tonight, this particular broadcast will be packaged up along with its video content posted to YouTube. And anybody who's really interested in watching my off-the-wall facial expressions and seeing some of the little video teasers that I put up while I'm doing this presentation can watch it on YouTube and hopefully get a little bit of a belly laugh out of it. But YouTube, to me, is not a big money maker. I think last year my YouTube ad revenues was, you know, I don't know, maybe $600-700, something like that. You know, it's hardly, frankly, worth the trouble. It's not something that I depend on as a source of revenue. Now, a guy like Mark Dice, with millions and millions of views on his videos, I mean, this guy, you know, he puts out short little videos. They're very humorous. They're entertaining to watch. So he's got a very large audience. He actually makes a living on his ad revenues from his YouTube channel. So when YouTube decides to take his channel down because of so-called infractions of their terms of service, they're not just messing with the man's hobby, they're messing with his livelihood. This was a serious incident. Well, it's been announced that apparently Mark Dice has had his YouTube channel restored. YouTube has admitted they were wrong. Okay, well, not really admitted it, but apparently Mark Dice's severe violations were not that bad after all, and his channel and videos have been restored. According to the popular video blogger, the relentless pressure from viewers was responsible for helping him get his channel restored. So, Mark Dice, congratulations. YouTube, not sure what your problem was. I saw Mark Dice's content. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was humorous. Can't imagine why they would have taken it down. But it is back up for all you Mark Dice fans. And I do believe I'm hearing the music in the background. I think I'm going to have to slide out of here for a moment while they sell some more merchandise. I'll be back right after these messages with some more Wide Awake news. And we're back from our last break of the evening. Got a couple more articles here I want to get through, so let's see how... Actually, I did better than I thought I would. That was quite the imposing pile of stuff. I think I'm down about 3 or 4 more items I want to cover tonight. Done a number of news pieces about the militarization of the police departments in the United States. It seems to be an overwhelming trend. I mean, even small towns out in the middle of the country, you know, where you used to think Andy Mayberry and Barney Fife were the law enforcement for the community, seem to have, you know, armored vehicles, SWAT teams, drug sniffing dogs, and all this stuff that just does not seem to fit in with our picture of rural America. You know, who goes to Mayberry, North Carolina, expecting to see a SWAT team? You know, just, you know, something not right with that. But that's life in America in the 21st century. Now, you would think that with all of this armor and everything that the police are gearing up, and their militarized tactics and their armored vehicles and, you know, their Darth Vader outfits and all this other nonsense, you would think that crime on the streets must just be horrendous to justify that. I mean, are Bonnie and Clyde back out there? You know, I mean, we got some kind of gang war going on that nobody's told us about, and that's why we need all these cops and Darth Vader outfits and armored vehicles patrolling the streets. Is it just not being reported on the news? Maybe we missed it. Maybe Al Capone's been resurrected and we got gang wars going on. No. The fact of the matter is, violent crime has been trending steadily downward for years. Went down 19% between 1987 and 2011. The job of being a police officer has become safer as well, as the number of police killed by gunfire plunged to 33 last year, down 50% since 2012. That is the lowest level of police dying from gunfire doing their jobs since, wait for it, drum roll please, that's the lowest number of police killed in the line of duty by gunfire since 1887. When we had 75% less population than we have today. Those are the facts. So given the good news on crime, violent crime in the United States is down. I know folks over in Europe think, you know, we're all a bunch of gun-toting crazies over here. You know, it's okay corral every night, and we're all, you know, getting drunk and shooting each other. But, you know, that is not really what goes on in America. In fact, crime in America is down significantly since before the days of the SWAT team, the MRAPs, and the Darth Vader suits. So why? What would be the justification for the militarization of our police? I mean, these are supposed to be the boys who are out there to protect and serve. What do you think? Personally, I think it's bullshit. But, you know, you're entitled to consider. Make up your own damn mind. Talked a little bit about Mark Dice earlier, and congratulations, Mark Dice. I'm glad you got your YouTube channel back. I know you depend on that thing for your livelihood, and can't for the life of me figure out why YouTube would have taken your material down. I find it very amusing, very entertaining, and you betcha I'm subscribed and waiting for you to put up a new video. But there's another fella in the news, a fellow by the name of Matt Drudge. You know, I'm sure there's people out there who think Matt Drudge is a good guy. I'm sure there's people out there who thinks he's, you know, just another mainstream media reporter. But, you know, frankly, I like Matt Drudge. I think he's a good guy. I think that the material that he links to on his website is useful. As a matter of fact, a good percentage of the material that I'm covering tonight I glommed from links posted by Matt Drudge. He is one of my favorite sources for alternative news. Yeah, he covers some of the Hollywood beat, and he tries to give a diverse picture of what's going on out there. He tries to attract as large an audience as possible, and it appears over the years he's been quite successful. Well, Matt Drudge recently sent out a tweet expressing his frustration at having to pay what's called, what he referred to as his liberty tax. Matt Drudge has chosen to opt out of Obamacare. And he sent out a tweet saying, I just paid my Obamacare penalty. I'm going to call that my liberty tax. And, of course, now Matt Drudge, who's accustomed to reporting the news, has thus become the news. Now, the Obamanites out there are saying, oh, no, you got to pay your damn penalty until next year. And what they forget is that Matt Drudge, like many of us out here in the hinterlands, are self-employed and are required to file quarterly, not on what we made the past quarter, but what we think we're going to make in the next quarter. We have to take a wild guess, and I'll tell you what, you better be pretty close on your guess, too, or you got to pay a penalty on top of everything else. But that's neither here nor there. Matt Drudge was filing his quarterlies as a small business, and was indeed confronted for the first time with paying his freedom tax, his penalty for not participating in Obamacare. Yeah, you bet it. I just love Obamacare. I think Obamacare is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Don't you? Don't you want to just run right out and sign up and get you some of that Obamacare? It's healthcare.gov. It's a real easy website. They're going to hook you up with free healthcare. You betcha. Yeah. He's taking a lot of heat over it. A lot of the liberal media, the liberal leaners, you're just lying, you're just sour grapes, calling him all kinds of names. But yes, in fact, small business people are already subject to their Obamacare tax. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, world leaders, big shots, movers, shakers are gathering for the G8 summit. Yes. For those of you who didn't get the sight gag earlier, I'll put it up there again. But yes, they're gathering for the G8, and this time around there will be a notable exception to the invites. Yeah, you bet. The Russians have got to be, absolutely laughing up their sleeve over the so-called sanctions imposed on them by NATO. I mean, basically, Russia has nothing to gain from membership in the G8. Every time they go there, all they get is, half of Europe, begging, natural gas and oil off of them at discount prices. So for them, not attending the G8 is like, it's like a vacation. They don't have to listen to that crap. But, this guy, Putin, I don't like the guy. I think he's a stone cold killer. Okay? I think the man has evil in his heart. But compared to what we've got, frankly, where the heck is our Putin? How come we can't have one of those? I don't know. It's just in the sphere of global diplomacy, this guy Putin, whether you like him or not, has a lot to be admired. He's not one to postulate and yak a lot. He's a man of action. That used to be a characteristic of the United States of America. Now we try to talk our adversaries to death, and if that doesn't work, we blow them back into the Stone Age. So Putin will not be attending the G8 this year. He'll probably go hunting or fishing or do something manly. Lord only knows what our guy and his wife Chewbacca will be doing. I just don't know. That's neither here nor there. There is some concerns about Ukraine. I want to leave you with this. There are still 8 million ethnic Russians in eastern Ukraine. And some of the stuff coming out of the western portion of Ukraine would indicate that these people may indeed be in jeopardy. You can expect that Russia will not sit back quietly and let the western Ukrainians take advantage of their kin in the east. This one could yet be a tinderbox. 1939, Germany, Czechoslovakia, Poland, just don't know. This is another one you're going to have to keep an eye on. And as always, don't believe me, don't believe MSNBC, consider and make up your own damn mind. I'm hearing the music in the background. I got to blow out of here. I've used up all the time they're going to give me tonight. So I'll be back next Monday to do some more barking at the moon. You take care now.
What will you say? And what will turn around. Oh, I'm calling out to you. Won't you turn, won't you turn around?